Hello everyone and welcome to my video series regarding the Starship Troopers Terran Command Scenario Editor. In this series, I will be showing how to use the Scenario Editor as well as common use cases for triggers to help you build your scenarios. Today, we will be covering a topic requested on my community page. The topics we're going to be covering are building bases, how supply and war support is triggered and awarded, how to restrict certain units and upgrades. And to top it off, I'm going to create a few simple objectives for this particular video. However, I will come out with another video with a deeper dive into creating objectives later on. Since this is going to be a longer video, there will be several sections to this video with timestamps for each section listed now. To start, we're going to go ahead and put down some bases for your players to build from. So we've got an awesome little layout here for little base. I'm going to go ahead and scooch these guys up and around. I know that we've got some units spawning based off of our last video. So what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to expand this base a little bit. So I'm going to go ahead and clear out some decorations here. So right now, I'm going to be doing I'm going to plan ahead a little bit, and I'm going to show you how to create a capturable base. So normally, if you were going to go and put down some base structures, you would place down a radio post or radio station, and that would be what you would be linking base elements to. But let's say, for the sake of this tutorial, that this is pretty simple. I'm going to show you how to make a capturable base. So I'm going to go ahead and delete that, and I'm going to go and grab a different radio station. So I'm going to go ahead and grab this one here, and then what I'm going to do is I'm going to find a flag capture point. All right. Maybe capture site. Nah. Let's do a flag. There we go. Oh, capture point with the flag. All right. We're just going to do a capture point. Keep things simple. So there should be a radius around here when we actually load into the mission. We can actually go ahead and look at that right now. So we can see that actually the capture point is entirely...
Bug attack inbound.
We can actually see that the capture point is entirely unneeded because the outpost, the little radio station itself, comes with a capture point. Not super easy to see in the editor, but good to know for this video. So what we're going to do is we're going to create a couple triggers that will make this capturable for us, or do certain things once it's captured. So the next thing that we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and add a couple delivery platforms. So these are going to serve for our upgrades that we're going to do. So I'm going to go ahead and use this attach function here. So I select the item that I want to attach, very similar to what we did with the previous tutorial with the markers. We're going to attach these delivery platforms to the radio station. This is going to tie these delivery platforms to this radio station so that when this radio station is captured, these are also going to get captured. So it's pretty nifty. For this particular base, I'm also going to place down some supply depots. These are going to be a in-map way you can add additional supply to a mission. So each of these supplies will provide 5 supply to your mission. So let's continue with base building. The next thing that we're going to want to use is a drop site. So we are going to want a way of delivering new units to our base here. So I'm going to place a drop site there and a drop site there. I'm going to go ahead and select these and then attach it to the radio outpost. Now, our base is pretty well and ready. It can accept upgrades, it has some basic supply, and it has 2 drop points to deliver units and reinforce them. So let's go ahead and make an action happen really quick on once this radio station is captured. So I'm going to go ahead and create a new folder, and I'm going to call it base captured, just to keep it super simple. I'm going to go ahead and create a new trigger in here, and I'm going to add some additional war support to the player faction once they've captured this radio post. So I've got a pretty lengthy trigger name here for this particular example, but that's okay. So first thing we want to do is we want to detect when this radio station has been captured. To do that, we're going to create a condition called unit ownership. So we're going to go ahead and select the radio station, and when the radio station belongs to the blue player, we're going to set up some actions. So we're going to go ahead and set up an effect, and we are going to call this first one, we're not going to call, we're going to, now that we have a condition set up that once the radio station is captured, we're going to want to use a effect called effect population bonus change. So what this is going to do is it's going to allow us to add additional war support and supply. So I'm going to go ahead and start with supply. For the blue player, I'm going to add an additional 6 supply. And then I'm going to go ahead and do population bonus change again. In this case, I'm going to do war support, and I'm going to do 2. So now that we have this set up, as soon as we capture this, we should be awarded 6 additional supplies, as well as 2 additional war support. So it's actually super simple, and we've set notifications as well. You can also subtract, multiply, divide, or force your supplies to equal a certain value. Let's say we also now want the player to start doing deployment. So we can allow deployment. So to make that work, what I'm going to do is I'm going to go into options, and I'm going to set production to 1. This will disable production of units until we re-enable it through this trigger. So let's go ahead and test that out. All right, so let's go ahead and capture this outpost. All right.
Our base is operational, sir.
All right, so we got 2 war support added to us. We can now deploy units. So we have 15 supply from these supply depots, plus an additional 6 from our triggers. And we can use our war support for extra supplies, extra items and abilities. All right, so we've still got some bug attacks happening. Looks like some more are about to spawn right there and give our boys some trouble. So what I'm going to do next is I'm going to show you how to restrict this command center. Let's say we don't want our player to be able to build the command center. We're going to do 2 examples here. I don't want them to build chemical troopers or the command center. I'm going to show you how to lock those down. To restrict a unit or upgrade from a player, you have to know the unit name for that unit. So I'm going to start off with the Chemical Trooper. So we can see that the unit is called Chemical Trooper, but below that is a line that has 2007. That's the unit type ID. And then chemical underscore troopers. And that's what we're going to want to take a look at here. So in order to disable a unit or upgrade, you have to know that chemical underscore trooper type name, such as power underscore infantry, E dash pulse underscore infantry. So you have to know that system name. Next, we're going to go to options. Next, we're going to go into options, and we're going to, in this field, disable deployable units types. So I'm going to go ahead and enter in this field chemical troopers and then a semicolon. Now I also want to disable that particular upgrade with the command center. So I'm going to go find a command center. So it's command underscore center. I'm going to do the same thing. Because it's technically a unit, I'm going to go ahead and using a semicolon to delineate between multiple different items, I'm going to type in command underscore center and then semicolon. So now when I start playing the mission and I capture the outpost, I should not be able to deploy chemical troopers or the command center.
Our base is operational, sir.
All right. So now if I take a look at the radio station, we can see that chemical troopers is completely disabled, as well as the command center. So that is how you disable units as well as upgrades, is through that menu there. All right, so we have set up a base successfully. We have added some extra supply and war support for our player, and we've set up restrictions on what type of units or structures a player can deploy. Now I'm going to show you some very simple objectives that we're going to use here, as well as enabling objectives, enabling a fail condition, and a win condition. So to start, what I've gone ahead and done is to set this up is I have disabled the offensive attack wave that you've been seeing here and that we set up in our previous video. And as part of capturing this base, I am re-enabling that. So as soon as we capture the base, the bugs are not going to be happy about that and start sending attack waves to us. So we're going to have to create some objectives here, such as how to not lose a base, as well as clearing a bug hive. So I'm going to go ahead and set up a bug hive really quick for us to use. All right, so this is going to be our bug hive example that we'll go ahead and create an objective for as well. So let's create some objectives. So coming to the objectives menu, you can select add objective in order to set up objectives to enable and disable. So I'm going to set up several objectives here. The first one I'm going to set up is capture the base. And I'm going to go ahead and disable the display requirement value since we don't need one for this. Next, I'm going to set up clear the bug hive. And I also don't need to display the requirement value for this particular one. And then I'm going to set up another objective called defend the base. Now, I'm going to move and slide these around just a little bit, and then I'm going to disable defend the base and clear the bug hive I'm going to disable these two objectives here. So what I'm going to do is the capture the base objective is live at the start of the mission. So as soon as a player loads up this particular mission, that objective is going to be the first thing that they see. So we're going to have a way of completing it. So we already have our trigger on capturing the base. So let's just add another trigger effect in here. So I'm going to go down to Effects, Objective Status. I'm going to select the objective that I want through these two left and right buttons, and I'm going to mark this objective as complete. So as soon as we capture that radio station, the objective is going to complete. Now, what I want to happen is I want to enable the other two objectives. So I'm going to go ahead and use enable, clear the bug hive, and enable defend the base. Now I want these notifications to kind of spread out a little bit. So I'm going to wait 5 seconds for the clear the bug hive mission to start. And then I'm going to wait 5 seconds more after that to turn on the defend the base objective. The reason why I'm doing this is I'm displaying a UI pop-up, and I don't necessarily want them to stack on top of each other where you can't tell what is popping up in the center. It just looks like a jumbled mess. So I'm going to spread those objectives out a little bit. So I'm going to go ahead and add a slightly longer delay to this attack wave. So now what we've got here is we've enabled our objectives. We've completed one of them. Now it's time to create conditions for the other two objectives. So I'm going to go ahead and create a folder called Objectives. And within this folder, I'm going to create a trigger, and I'm going to call this fail condition. And what I'm going to do is if the unit ownership of the radio station goes to the neutral team, then the objective status for defend the base will be failed, and I'm going to set a outcome for the mission as defeat. And I'm going to add some custom text here. And now we have set up our fail condition. So as soon as the bugs overrun our forces and get to the radio outpost and try and take it over, they're going to win. And the player is going to lose. Now, I want to create a win condition. So I'm going to create a new objective. I'm going to call this win condition. And it's going to involve this bug hive over here. So if unit ownership of this bug hive goes to neutral faction, which means we've sent troopers down there and cleared out the hive, objective status for clear the bug hive is now complete, and the outcome is victory. So we have set up several things with this particular mission. We've set up how to build a base and how to link components to the base. We've covered how to make a base capturable and make certain triggers happen at the same time as the capture. We have covered how to add additional supply and war support to your missions other than supply depots. We have covered how to restrict what units a player can deploy, and we've created some very simple objectives with a deeper dive video later on down the road. So let's see how we did. That's what I messed up there. That's what I messed up. So, you see that we lost the mission. And that's because this fail condition is not helping us really well. So, what's happening is this radio station belongs to the neutral faction, and the trigger is enabled. So, as soon as the mission starts, it fails the mission. So this is a very frustrating but normal kind of accident that can happen with triggers, and letting you know that I am not above making that mistake myself. So the way to correct this is to disable the fail condition and then find a way to make sure that it's not going to instantly fail the mission when you enable it. So I'm going to come to the base captured trigger here. And that's where I'm going to enable the fail condition trigger. So after I have confirmed and know that the player controls the radio outpost or insert item here, then it's safe to enable the fail condition. So now let's go ahead and try out what we have. All right, so we've got our mission here. Let's see how we did with our triggers. So we can see that at the start of our mission,
We've got a unit under attack.
Our first objective is already enabled, which is to capture the base. So I'm going to go ahead and send my rocket troopers to go capture that base there.
Our base is operational, sir.
The objective is now complete, and we should be getting our new objectives here. Clear the bug hive.
Alert. Bug attack
and then defend
inbound.
the base.
Ready to fire. I don't care if it's heavy. Affirmative. Awaiting orders. Roger that.
Awaiting orders. Affirmative. Tell us what to do. Roger that.
Look alive,
yes,
troopers.
Sir. Troopers, standing by.
Come on, you
Engineers reporting. Stash
So let's
your
go ahead and
tools
set up
and
for
move
our
out.
defense here. So we've got quite a few bugs heading this way. And we've got some combat troopers to make sure everything stays safe. Alright, so I have modified this mission some that only 2 bug attack waves are going to happen rather than the 5 in our previous video with this particular scenario. So as soon as both attack waves are done, I'll come back and I'll show how to complete the other objective. Alright, now that the attack waves have been completed, let's go ahead and wipe out that bug hive.
Affirmative. Roger that.
Troopers, standing by.
Come on.
Awaiting orders.
Roger that.
Sir, roger that. Squad moving out.
Alright, so now that we've cleared out the bug hive, we should see that the objective, clear the bug hive, completes, and we should also see a victory. All right, the objective completed, and we have victory. All right, everyone. That is all that I have for this particular video here. And again, in this video, we covered how to put bases together for your bases to build from, how to give initial supply and war support. We've talked about how to restrict what units or upgrades a player can use in a scenario. And we've created some simple objectives that fit this particular example of scenario that we're working with. So I'm going to be putting up another community post for the community to vote on what the next video is. This video was voted on by my community and followers. So thank you very much for the suggestions and just knowing what you guys want for the next video on what you're struggling with the scenario editor really helps understand what video is going to be the most useful to you as soon as possible. So again, thank you all for watching and have a great one.